What's up guys, it's Card Boss here, back in another video where we normally talk cards, money, investing, but today I'm gonna touch on something a bit different. Okay, I actually originally had something else planned for today's video, but I met up with a friend yesterday and he was kind of telling me that, I'm catching up basically and just asking me, what was I doing now? And I just telling him doing cards full time, and it was all great. So he was like, oh man, that was like awesome, right? Doing the things that you love, get all that time and all those kind of things. But when I came back, I kind of like reflected to what we discussed, and I come to a realization that it was not always this way. And in fact, the journey has not been actually smooth, where at some point in my life, I almost lost everything, to be honest. So I thought maybe for this video, kind of do a bit of a sharing. So for you guys to be aware on, it's not just all smooth flowing, that everything worked out pretty well to get me to this point. So stick around. Okay, so I'm going to take you guys on a journey, all right? Hopefully this is going to be an enjoyable one, not something you guys going to fall asleep. All right, so the journey started in 1998, where I just finished high school and it's my first year of college, and that's where I picked up Magic the Gathering for the first time. In general, I'm quite a competitive person, so the game itself was something like a calling for me. Thoroughly enjoyed the game so much. Now, initially it started off as just a friendly kitchen table kind of environment with my college friends, but soon, not long after, within like a short span of less than a year, I was joining tournaments, playing high-level events, and I was so good at the game, right? To the point that I was actually Australia, yeah, that's right, Australia's ranked #1 player. Okay, because I went to Australia to did my uni. So it was an awesome time in that first few years between 1998 to 2001. Okay, for Magic the Gathering was a huge part of my life. But after I graduated, right, with a degree in commerce, it's time to get back to reality, of which I started working for a Big Four accounting firm, and that's when my dad actually just informed me that, look, game time's all over, time to buckle down, focus on a career, and exactly what I did. So for the first few years, I set aside Magic the Gathering, in favor of my career, and I worked very hard during that time just to be the best version of myself during that period. And when it came to around 2006, I had a different kind of career opportunity with better hours, compared to the tough struggles in an audit accounting firm. I think some of you guys probably know what I'm talking about. So I jumped on, and I found myself having plenty of excess time, literally, like lots of time. So some people would probably just take this time to maybe do some recreational things, or watch some extra TV. But for me, I was kind that I wanted to hustle. And of all things, I delved back into Magic the Gathering. But instead of just playing, I decided to open my own LGS, or my own card store, together with my partner of mine from back in the days in college. So we started our own store in 2006, and it was a great time. It's a great learning. I learned a lot of things during that time running the store. In fact, we were one of the, I would say, the biggest stores. I wouldn't say it's that big. Our store, we had every weekend we had 30 to 40 people coming to the store every weekend. It was busy, and we were one of those stores that had lots and lots of activity. Things were great. And on a weekly basis, back in 2006, 2007, we were making about $5,000 a week profit, net profit. So about 20K a month, which as a side hustle, right, for me and my partner, it was amazing. Okay. But fast forward a couple of years later, 2008, and you guys know what happened in 2008. Financial crisis hit the world. Okay, so my friend had a bit of issues with his own work. Even my own work situation was not that stable in 2008, and he decided to uproot him and his family to Singapore from Malaysia. And so we had to come to a decision on what to do with the store, and we concurred that without both of our direct involvements, now we had employees working for the company as well in the store, but without our both direct involvement, we realized that we don't think that the store can maximize its potential, especially what we are looking ahead on, that financial crisis would affect everybody. We do anticipate that the store will actually struggle during that period. So we make a decision to go our separate ways. I decided to take inventory because the store was always running on a low amount of cash, because we continue to cycle the money back into the business to grow the inventory level into the business. So at that point in time, there was not much cash in the business, and I had to leave the business with a bunch of inventory on hand. And while I was figuring out, maybe I could just sell this on the side, slow it on eBay or whatnot. Not whatnot, but as in whatever options I could. But I myself hit another big speed bump, or in this case, a big wall. Okay, I was dismissed from my job. Okay, due to the company struggling, right? The business was struggling, and they had to downsize, and I was one of them that was asked to be let go. Okay, so for me, it was kind of a shock. Okay, because I was doing pretty well in my company. I had a full picture of how well or how bad the situation is of my company, but I thought we were doing okay. So it came as a big shock. So in a short period of time, I had to leave the side hustle, which I love so much, and we're doing so well, and I lost my main income, which is my job. So I was in a situation that I wasn't exactly sure what to do. So obviously I wasn't the only one in that situation. A lot of people were also were let go of their jobs during that period, and everybody was just fighting for new positions, right? Just to get back their income. It was a tough struggle in that few months between the end of 2008 to, I would say, the middle of 2009. It was quite a scary period for a lot of people. There were a lot of uncertainties. Of course, I had my parents to support me, but I was the kind that I felt that I needed to be independent, and I just got married at that time as well. So, I had commitments to my wife. So, therefore, I had to actually man up and try to find my own way to get myself out of this situation. So, fortunately enough, I found another job in 2009. Managed to get back on my feet, and I had to push aside every single thing that was nothing to do with my job, just focusing on the job just to get back myself. And in that 3 years subsequent to that, and I finally got myself in a good position, and actually another career opportunity to move into a different company, which again, got myself into a situation whereby I had a bit of extra time and went back into my side hustle of Magic the Gathering again. And at that point in time, with a bit more money in the bank, I was willing to take a bit more risk, and with inventory, buying, flipping real hard, and slowly bankrolling my side hustle for 10 long years. All right, and finally, when come into around 2019, I decided that I was going to go back into sports, which was my love initially for sports cards when I first started in age 14 back then. Okay, and that's how from Magic I moved into sports. And then when the pandemic happened, everything you buy and you sell turned to gold. Those people who were around during this period, I was active during this period, know what I'm talking about, and I did pretty well during that period. So, and that really set me up to where I am today. But the lessons that I got from way back in 2007 to 2008 to 2009 really hit hard on me, that never take things for granted. I had a good situation back then, right, with a decent stable job, had a good business that was running, Magic was growing at that time, but within a short period of time, just everything that got a whole rug pulled from below me, just got into a situation whereby it was tough. So I didn't want that to ever happen again for me. So since then, I was already being a very careful guy with finances in general, but that was a big learning back then. So even right now, when it comes to taking financial risks on buying sports cards, I believe some of you may be looking at, you guys must be crazy paying this amount of high money for this kind of high end. Anything can just drop to zero and things like that. Agree, totally true. So for me, I do take that into consideration as well, and I always mentally, on the back of my mind, tell myself that the underlying value of all these trading cards that I hold in my hand, be it a Jordan or Kobe or LeBron, whatever, they're just paper, sealed in a plastic case. Okay, they have no tradable value outside what the next person is willing to pay. They're unlike commodity like gold or silver. Okay, so I always have to remember this at any one point in time before I over leverage or go above my means to buy certain things that I know I can't afford. So now things are, as a business, it's even more challenging, whereby you want to manage this. You got to manage the bottom line, you got to manage the expenses really to the T. So I set difficult targets for myself, and I set difficult rules for myself in order for me to prevent myself from getting into rough situations. So if there's anything for you guys to take away from this story today, is basically be very careful whenever you put money out for this. It's a hobby first to many people, but when you turn your hobby into a side hustle or business, don't forget that these kind of side hustle business can just get flipped off in a moment's notice when something happens in your life, like you lose a job, or maybe something happened with your family, so therefore cards become the least of your priorities, and whereby you need to struggle to get some cash in. So that's the lesson that you guys should take away from this, because back in 2008, 2009, that was a tough learning for me. But I know that going forward, even I'm running my business at this scale, and putting my money into certain cards that's pretty expensive, but I would safely say that I'm aware of the risk, and I'm taking care of the downsides, and so that to prevent any of these things from happening again. Alright, that's all for this one. I'm going to do a proper video, then to share some sad stories to you guys in the next one. Do like, subscribe, follow my channel. Till the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. Cowboys out.